I have a passion for events.
All right.
And I actually stumbled into events. It was never something I intended to do.
I'm just interested. So who is Eunice? Who's Eunice Kangai?
Corporate events, I've done all types of corporate events, from launches to end year parties to conferences and summits and all of that.
Yeah.
And I still have some roots, so to speak, in Rwanda.
So her team actually struggled to really create something here locally, so that they leverage on local expertise to customize it into a Kenyan market. I think that makes a lot of sense. That means the curriculum is bespoke.
Yes.
It's dedicated and well suited for the Kenyan labor market.
So that's how the Events Academy started, out of the need to just inject professionalism in the Kenyan events industry and to help people know more about events locally. Yeah, because you'd find someone who's been taught about how to do an event in America, but we're in Kenya.
You know, the labor market has not undergone like a formal training for events, and even if it does, it's a related industry, and basically that is marketing, communication, as you said, and some other trend I'm actually observing the labor market is now the hospitality space. Exactly. So someone has done maybe tourism, hospitality, or catering, then they come to the event space, but they come and realize that the event, it's a whole
different
stuff, and that is exactly what Event Academy is trying to do.
Exactly.
Interesting.
Yes. We realize if you don't have a passion for events, it's very hard to stay long in this industry.
That's true.
It's very hard because it's hard.
Yes.
It's a very hard industry.
It's a very tricky one. It's very tricky nuances of events in Kenya. We really don't have a standard curriculum when it comes to event management. And by the way, Events Academy are the only people in Kenya and East Africa, as per se, that they have a private sector led initiative to really train the workforce that in the event. So if you're an event planner, event organizer, or a youth starting to have your event company,
the mistakes we made, other people don't need to make them. So learning from our mistakes, we're passing on that information to other people.
Interesting.
So they make better business decisions, better planning decisions.
Then that means the quality of the students that you guys get out of the labor market, you really, put them in the labor market, it's quite top notch.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
We've had the chance of also having some other people in the industry approach us and looking for volunteers to work at the events, or someone to help them, like second them as an assistant event planner and things like that.
All right.
So we usually have our student CVs and hand them out so they get to have that kind of experience as well. 6
years into the events business, that is basically teaching. So what has the impact been? What's the outlook? So what have you achieved so far from last year, and what do you envision the last 4 to 5 years?
So that's the opportunity Gen Zs have, and especially now that you don't have to work in an office 9 to 5. Nowadays it's very flexible, which I know it's something that this current generation really values.
So how do we fix this gatekeeping kind of stuff, and how do we relax a little bit and open up innovation, so coordinate, collaborate on the same?
Si sana vile.
Okay.
Cha kuchocha.
That's true. Let me be honest, but it took me 3 months to get her. So again, that explains how these people are making money outside here. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Simon Peter, my ambassador for Kenya. Today we have our podcast, and you're hosting one of the top brains in the country when it comes to events training. So this time round we are leaving no stone unturned. So we want to introduce our guest, and our guest, she's called Eunice Kangai. Eunice has been in practice in events in Kenya for the last 15 years. She has been practicing events management in the East African community and also outside Africa, including Morocco, for the last few years. So she took a back step a little bit to focus on training for events management in Kenya, and established the well-known Events Academy basically in Kenya. And what basically Events Academy do, they do training for the events industry, a course that is customized, a school that is really has a bedrock when it comes to event management in Kenya. Then practicing for 15 years, that tells you their curriculum is really indeed for Kenya. But before we move on, today we are hosted by Clarion Hotel. So Clarion Hotel is a 3-star hotel located at the heart of the Kenya's capital. And Kenya is the only country in the world that has a national park in its capital city. So for quick view, let's have a look at what Clarion has for us. Clarion Hotel has 2 boardrooms, 6 conference hall, and 62 accommodation. Then what does that tell you? You can have a conference in here without leaving the building. They have nice food, exquisite facilities, high-speed internet, good security, power backup, and to ensure that the event is very seamless. Try out Clarion Hotel, and you're going to experience the best event in the country. Hi, Eunice.
Hello.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Thank you so much. You're a very hard person to get. Uko busy sana.
Si sana vile.
Okay.
Cha kuchocha.
But that's true, of course. Let me be honest, but it took me 3 months to get her. So again, that explains how these people are making money outside here.
Yeah.
I'm just interested. So who is Eunice? Who's Eunice Kangai?
Eunice Kangai. Well, you've already done an introduction, which I feel like it's enough.
But I just need to know her.
But to add on, Eunice Kangai is what you said, an event professional.
Yeah.
I have a passion for events, and I actually stumbled into events. It was never something I intended to do. You know, as you're growing up and you ask, what do you want to be when you grow up? There's never a day I said event planner. Because I never knew it was something that existed.
Yes.
Yeah, but after campus, where I studied communication and advertising.
Nice.
That was in Daystar.
Yeah.
I started working advertising, and then I was blessed to get a job in Rwanda.
All right.
When I went to Rwanda, now I got into events by accident, I like to say, because it wasn't intentional.
So the events in Rwanda now?
Events in Rwanda, So I did just one event in Rwanda.
All right.
And then, I started now going into that direction after that. And then when I came back to Kenya, I found Waridi, which was also just a very interesting story.
Yeah.
I actually just read, I was in the salon and I read an article about another events company. And I wrote to them to ask them if they're hiring. And they told me they're not hiring, but let me refer you to a friend of mine called Wanjiko, who runs a company called Waridi.
Yeah.
And as they say, the rest is history. That is how I joined Waridi.
Indeed, they actually say the rest is history.
Yeah.
So now that you really got into the event space as a coincidence, so what really made you stick, or what was that thing that made you stick to events management? What was it exciting? What was that stuff that made you stick with events management?
Passion.
All right.
Passion. Like I found that I really enjoy coming up with ideas and then creating something out of nothing, so to speak. Yeah, like here at Clarion, you're saying they have this conference room. Going and seeing that conference room in its natural state and then converting that into something else that's just people walk in and they're like, oh my gosh, is this the same place? Yeah, so I really enjoy doing that and just seeing people enjoying themselves.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you actually made talk something about passion.
Yeah.
So for the 15 years of practicing into the events, especially the business events, and they're very huge, especially when it comes to concerts and festival in Africa. What exactly have you been doing for the last 15 years? What are some of the key learning, actually, with the vast experience you have in the African landscape, so it comes to events planning?
So initially when I joined Waridi, we used to do weddings.
All right.
Yeah, so I have a bit of experience in wedding planning.
Waridi was doing events. I was doing a wedding.
Initially.
All right.
Yes. When Waridi first started, it actually started as an online wedding directory and then transitioned to wedding planning, then into corporate event planning.
All right.
So I've done weddings and then corporate events. And in corporate events, I've done all types of corporate events, from launches to end-year parties to conferences and summits and all of that.
Yeah.
And I still have some roots, so to speak, in Rwanda. Yeah. Nilitoka huko, but it never left me. So I helped run a festival called Mumutu Arts Festival in Rwanda as well. So experience in also festival planning.
So what's the festival about?
The festival is an art festival. So it brings together artists from different parts of the world to come and participate and showcase their different skills and talents. It could be in dance, it could be in theatre, it could be in spoken word, it could be visual art. And we also do a conference on cultural diplomacy to see how art can be used as a tool for cultural diplomacy.
All right. So have they ever done a similar event in Kenya?
For the arts?
Yes.
No, not for the arts. More now, here it's serious business corporate.
All right. But now because you have someone with the Rwandese roots, bring them here. So you actually need people to host most MICE events, most business events. And when they come, actually in Kenya, we really want them to have experienced the exquisite accommodation at Clarion Hotel.
I shall do that.
Yeah, definitely. So now, you're really mentioning Waridi in this conversation as we move to the Events Academy. So what's your correlation with Waridi?
So the Events Academy, should I say, is a baby or sister to Waridi Events.
Yeah.
So when I was in Waridi, we used to get people coming in for attachments. And when they'd come in, we'd ask them to do simple tasks, and sometimes they wouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
And so we'd sit down and wonder, how are you not able to do this? And you've said you've studied event planning.
Yeah.
So we sat down with Wanjiko and we're like, maybe we should do our own kind of training. So when people come, they know how we do events. And then we tried that idea for a while. You know how you can start and then imposter syndrome hits and you're like, maybe let's just leave it.
Yeah.
But as time went on, we saw there's a gap that we need to just find out what people want to learn. And need to learn in order to help them be more professional in the field.
All right.
So we did a focus group, which I remember you were part of.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Simon, for your input. And after we did the focus group, we sat down and we actually wrote the curriculum for the Events Academy. So it's a localized curriculum.
All right.
We like to say it's for planners by planners.
All right.
So it's very relevant, and we use the Kenyan landscape a lot.
All right.
So that's how the Events Academy started, out of the need to just inject professionalism in the Kenyan events industry and to help people know more about events locally. Yeah, because you'd find someone who's been taught about how to do an event in America, but we're in Kenya. Yeah, you know, the processes and procedures of doing events in America
totally different.
Don't align with the rules, the guidelines, the compliance requirements.
All right. And actually also to second that, I think there's a friend of mine that has a PR agency that does events both in London and the US. So her team actually struggled to really create something here locally, so that they leverage on local expertise to customize it into a Kenyan market. I think that makes a lot of sense. That means the curriculum is bespoke.
Yes,
it's dedicated and well suited for the Kenyan labor market. So you said Events Academy really identified a gap, and this gap was within the labor market. And again, it's common knowledge that most of the Kenyan mice industry is a semi-professional. So by that I mean, the labor market has not undergone like a formal training for events, and even if it does, it's a related industry, and basically that is marketing, communication, as you said, and some other trend I'm actually observing the labor market is now the hospitality space. So someone has done maybe tourism, hospitality, or catering, then they come to the event space, but they come and realize that the event, it's a whole
totally different
stuff, and that is exactly what Event Academy is trying to do. Interesting.
Yes.
So what are these additional gaps that you really identified, that you really wanted to fill?
Some additional gaps. Allow me to refer to my notes.
Yeah, sure.
Mimi mwalimu nakujanga na notes class.
In fact, I'm double sure even people here taking some notes. And by the way, as she checks her notes, in fact, actually, in Kenya, as you said, it's purely a labor market, and we really don't have a standard curriculum when it comes to event management. And by the way, Events Academy are the only people in Kenya and East Africa, as per se, that they have a private sector-led initiative to really train the workforce that in the event. So if you're an event planner, event organizer, or a youth starting to have your events company, so it might be planning, it might be photography, it might be a vendor, might be a concept developer, event designer. So check the Events Academy website. So the link is here, and then you'll be able to find the deep programs or the course that the Events Academy are doing. That's why they are here. So we said in this platform, we are really targeting the top notch, the who's and who's in the event, that the people who shape the mice industry in Kenya and East Africa. So how far are we on your notes, teacher?
Notes are here. So I like that you've mentioned the businesses. So we have 3 courses. We initially started off with one. That was called the Basics of Event Planning. Become an event planner. So it's just basic event planning. guidelines that we give to anyone who has become an event planner, and we don't focus on either side, social or corporate. So with those skills, you can plan either a social or a corporate event. So we talk about things like what the event industry is like in Kenya. We talk about theming. We talk about risk assessment. We talk about sustainability in events, because those are things that people don't really think about. When you hear I'm going to plan an event, people immediately go to decor and chairs, tents and tents. That's immediately what people go to. So it's just trying to teach people there's more to it than that. And then after doing, I think, a year or two of the Events Academy, we are now 6. We turned 6 last month.
All right, congratulations.
Thank you. We started another course called the Business of Events, which is now targeted at people who run event businesses.
All right.
So the gap we identified there is that many people have a business, like they have the passion for events. They start an event business, whether it's photography, as you said, or branding, or whatever field of events it's in, audiovisual, whatever. But they're struggling so much in how to make the business grow. They don't know how to scale. They don't know how to deal with HR. They don't know how to market. They don't know how to price.
So the cost is actually like huge stuff.
It is. It is one of the biggest challenges we usually we see people have when they come to class. It's like, how do I charge? But how do I make sure people understand I'm charging this and it's not this? So that's a bit of what we tackle. So the Business of Events really helps to fill in that gap and help people, especially things meant to do with taxes, because that's another major struggle that people in the creative sector generally usually have. How do I run my business and pay taxes? So they usually outsource that. And then we usually encourage people, yes, you can outsource like your accounting and things, but also have a stake in it. Know how to do the basics. Because sometimes you can outsource. I can outsource to you, Simon. Simon, you're a CPA. You know everything to do with accounting. I give you everything to my business. But at the end of the day, when I'm asked any question, I don't know.
All right.
What is your profit for last year? I don't know. So people don't really keep records. That's another thing we try and encourage people. Keep records. That's another gap, because those records are what helps you grow your business. It's through the records we keep that we know last year we had this number of students. These are the questions we are asked the most. This is how we'll grow. This is how we'll scale. But I just come, do an event, I go, or I just come teach a class and go, no record, no nothing.
Basically documentation.
People don't document. That's another gap we have in this industry.
Interesting. So this basically that's the business of events. Yes, you have an event, but the business of it's like an MBA. But MBA specifically for us industry.
Exactly.
So it's an MBA for the event space. Again, as I say, the only guys in East Africa doing that.
And it's workshop style. So we won't just tell you should have a mission and vision for your business. We'll tell you should have a mission and vision. Sit down, write it now. During the class.
It's not
have you set goals for your business? No. Okay, let's sit down. What's number one goal you want for your business? So you literally have to work.
Right. So basically, wow. So it's again, it's giving masterclass vibes. So and that peer-to-peer learning, and actually it's an upgrade from whatever we get in our conventional classrooms. Where lecturer stands there, you guys write, do it at your own peril. So, but this one, you are walking the journey with the student from start to finish.
And that comes from the experience we had when we were starting out. Because when we started doing events, it wasn't something very common, and people weren't very willing to give help. So you'd approach the people who had been in the industry longer than us and be like, can you help us? How do you go about this? And they'll go like, no. We can't tell, that is our secret. You know, so it became so hard. So we learned majorly through our own mistakes. So we're like, the mistakes we made, other people don't need to make them. So learning from our mistakes, we're passing on that information to other people. So they make better business decisions, better planning decisions.
You actually struggle with stakeholder engagement. So people are not actually opening up to such information. Okay, that's interesting. So what other gap? As we go to the other chapter.
I think people thinking that they don't need training, as you said, semi-professionals, and limited regard for training. People think it's a natural born talent, because you find most people who are event planners have that skill of organizing. It comes naturally to them. They can look at something and say, this should be done this way. So they're like, why should I train for that? I'm already doing it. I'm already making money out of it. But there's so much more that you can get from training. You can gain experience and formal knowledge that will put Kenya on an international level, which is what we are trying to do as the Events Academy. Don't just think local, think global.
Yeah, actually, there's a saying that say think global and act locally.
Exactly.
Oh,
so with training, you can. I can give an example of a doctor. If someone tells you, I've always been passionate about being a doctor, I haven't actually studied to be a doctor, but I can do surgery on you. Would you agree? Exactly.
No.
So it's the same thing with event planning. Why do we agree to have someone plan our events who hasn't gone through the training? Yes, they have the skill, they have the passion, but the training also helps a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That's actually a lot of interesting.
Yeah.
So now in terms of certification or accreditation, so have you guys partnered with a local organization, or what's the plan to, again, for credibility and international recognition?
I hear you.
So any parts of the horizon just to give assurance that maybe these programs are nice, accredited?
So yes, we are in the process of getting NITA accreditation.
All right.
Yeah, so fingers crossed by the end or before the end of June, we should have NITA accreditation.
Nice. So I think actually that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because actually it's important also for people to really get commitment and that assurance that indeed the quality of the program being done, it's fantastic.
Yeah.
So talking about again classes, people will start saying, I need to, so what's the minimum requirement? So there is someone who is so passionate, but again, unfortunately did not get like the cluster, to get like into college, university.
Yeah.
As you said, you got into passion, like you had passion.
Yeah.
So, but as you're transitioning from communications and advertising to events management, you really struggled with the formal. That's why you made some mistake in between and realized, no, you guys wait. The mistakes are costly.
Yeah.
You now need to align.
Exactly.
So what are the minimum requirements for taking part into the program?
So for the Events Academy...
And who is the target audience?
Yeah. So for the Events Academy, unlike the other institutions, we don't have... We initially started with that. Like, you need to have this and have this. And we realized we're locking out a lot of people.
Yeah, that's true.
We realized we're locking out a lot of people. So we don't have a minimum requirements. All we need, you just go to our website, see the course you're most interested in, and then reach out to us. There's a form you fill, and then we give you a call. And then we just do like a normal interview, one-on-one. Like, I just talk to you, Simon, why do you want to do events? Why do you want to do this course? Why do you think this course is beneficial to you? Just to hear from you. And see, first of all, because that's the other thing we look for. The passion in events is important, because we realize if you don't have a passion for events, it's very hard to stay long in this industry.
That's true.
It's very hard because it's hard.
Yes.
Sidanganywe, it's a very hard industry.
It's a very tricky one.
It's
very tricky nuances of events in Kenya. Yeah.
Just event planning generally, no matter which country, if you don't have a passion for it, if you're just doing it for the money, itakuwa gumu.
You're going to lose the plot.
Yeah, so most of the time that's our entry criteria. What's your passion? What's your end game? What's your goal? What's your objective? So that's the interview process. So it doesn't matter whether you have an A or you have a C or you have a D. It doesn't matter.
Excellence.
Or an excellence.
Yes. Yeah.
Or that. We just do the interview, hear from you, and then advise and recommend which course we feel is better suited. Because there's someone who will come in and want to do one course, but once we have that conversation, I just tell you, maybe this course is better suited for you and where you're at in your event planning journey.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay, then that means the quality of the students that you guys get out of the labor market, you really, put them in the labor market, it's quite top notch.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. So now, there is always this a conversation of academia and industry disconnect. So how you guys fill in the gap so that you're not focusing so much on the academics and you also need to be relevant on the industry. Because in fact, I remember again, international conversion, you all know that. So so many youths are graduating from the university, but they really struggle to have that transition all the way from the labor market. And again, there's also a concern hope this is something the Commission of University Education can look at, so that the Kenyan curriculum we have, not especially in the hospitality space and the event marketing and communications, but also other different fields. So there is a cry from the private sector, and this is something that is coming through the associations, that the quality of graduates that actually are produced are struggling to fit into the labor market. Yes, so it's the program is outdated, or the market has actually moved on so much. So back to you, Eunice. So how does the Events Academy really strike a balance between academia and industry to ensure that there's a smooth transition?
So we try and give the people who come to the Events Academy as much exposure and experience as possible. So an example of how we do that is through the partnership we have with Waridi.
All right.
So whenever Waridi has an event, we'll have our students be part of the team.
Yes.
Yeah, to be part of the coordination. So when you're told in class 1, 2, 3, you actually go and sit on the ground. And when they come back, they're like, oh my gosh, you are serious when you said this. This is actually how it happens. We've had the chance of also having some other people in the industry approach us and looking for volunteers to work at the events, or someone to help them, like second them as an assistant event planner and things like that. So we usually have our student CVs and hand them out, so they get to have that kind of experience as well. And we also have, again, with a partnership with Waridi. So how Waridi works, they work with event consultants. They don't have full-time employees. So they get these events consultants from the Events Academy. An example of one student we had called Modoni. She runs her own event company called Trifecta. She did the course and became an event consultant at Waridi.
All right.
And she's still running her Trifecta events, and now she also is a trainer at the Events Academy. So it's like a 360 kind of thing. Yeah, we try and even for people who already have their own event businesses, like now through the business of events course, it's shaping their business in a way that they can grow it. And then once you're done with the course, it's not like, okay, thank you for coming, bye, it was real, here's a certificate, see you. No, we still work with you. So we have an alumni group where people now work together. So you see people in the alumni group going like, guys, I have this new company I've started, I'm sorry to go into this field. And people are like, give us your price list, give us this. So it's like a mini association.
Community. Like you guys are forming a community.
Exactly. So at least people grow, and then we encourage people to work together. So you're good at marketing and you're good at this. We also really encourage people to combine their skills. Yeah. Just because you're an event planner doesn't mean you can't do something else. So we have people who are event planners and marketers. We have people who are event planners and lawyers. We have people who are event planners and security experts. And you see all these things tie into events, because in events you have to deal with compliance, assurance, contracting. So the lawyer comes in hand in that. You'll be asked by a client to come up with PR or marketing or advertising strategies, and you already have that skill. So we also encourage them to combine these skills and work together.
Okay, that's interesting. That's like a community. It's like how do I call it? A working group. So that again, if you have any issue or concern, you guys benchmark among yourselves and are able to learn. So back to the curriculum. So what are some of the on-demand units that people really need to learn? For instance, actually in this space, I've actually, if you do a MICE analysis, you realize that people who want to gravitate towards branding, others the events design, which I'm looking forward also to learn, and also the tech side of events. So then find someone want to focus on, the pitching and bidding. So what are on demand? So what are these people? What are student requests? What does the market need? What is this on-demand program that they're requesting for?
So some of the on-demand programs you've had, people really want to learn more about event decor. Which we don't.
There's a huge demand for that.
People really want. That's the first question. Do you guys do decor? Like, I want to learn how to do. But we don't specialize in that.
All right.
Because also, again, it's not our specialty. So what we do is we have a lot of partners. So we can refer them, like, especially people who come and say they want to learn florals. We refer them to a partner who does
like those nice florals.
Exactly. The other on demand we have, and which now we're doing master classes for, is pricing. A lot of people struggle with how to price for their services.
Interesting.
So how do I price? What type of pricing should I use? Which pricing would be best for my business? So we have a masterclass on pricing.
Yeah.
We have one for budgeting as well, because I think one of the areas we struggle in terms of professionalism in the event industry in Kenya is how people present budgets. Yeah, someone will send you a budget on Word, and it's like, okay.
Who does that?
So like budgeting, how do you budget? How do you make sure you don't miss out on any costs? How do you account for miscellaneous? How do you make it so clear for your client to be able to see, oh, this is this and this is that?
And also justify the costing. Because some just hide the costings here and there.
Exactly. So we have one on budgeting as well. We have one on pitching and proposals, because that's another thing. Because in events, there's a lot of bidding, there's a lot of pitching, there's a lot of proposal writing. So how do you make your proposal stand out?
Nice.
Yeah, how? Because you can bid for a job and you're like 10, 20 of you.
Yes, that's true.
What will make Simon's proposal stand out from Eunice's?
Yeah.
So we teach that. And pitching as well, because most people will find event planners, myself included, prefer to be behind the scenes.
Yeah.
So when you're told to go in front of people, sometimes it's like, why? Can't I just send them a nice shiny presentation and not have to present it? But in our industry, people buy people. So you have to be able to pitch yourself. Because people buy people. If I like you, I want to work with you. Even though I had like 62 other very brilliant proposals, there's something about Simon I liked. And we can tweak maybe 1-2 things in the proposal that I'd like to change, But I'm working with Simon because when he came for the pitch, I felt like, we connect. We can work together. So we're doing one on that as well. And there's also one on project management, event project management. As we said, people usually think events, it's just wake up in the morning, go arrange the chairs, put the table, and you're done. But there's so much else that goes on behind the scenes.
Events is not just around chairs, table, and tents.
No, there's so much more.
What else do we need to learn?
So we teach them how to do the event project management. From when you get the brief from the client, how do you respond, and how do you work within your team to make this event happen? Are there work plans? Is there a timeline? Is there a proper budget? Is there have you done your venue site visit? Like now you've told people about Clarion. They should come and see it for themselves and see how they can even sell it to their clients. You don't just wake up and come to Clarion and say Ndachukua room. You have to see what the amenities are. You have to see if it's relevant to your client and things like that. Risk assessments. People don't do risk assessments for events. So you find sometimes something may go wrong at an event, not because the event planner is not capable, but because they may be just assumed. And anything can go wrong at an event. Simple things. So for example, one of the mistakes that we learned from, we had an event and the venue is very windy. But we just went to pitch the tents, the event is going on, and this wind blows and all the tents are carried off.
Wow.
So if we had done a risk assessment, we would have known when we went for the site visit, space is windy, maybe when they pitch the tents, let's make sure they're pinned down. Properly. Because most of the time we just pitch the tent, we don't pin them down. Because you don't think of any drastic
I didn't look at it that way.
Or anything. So we teach that. How do you do your risk assessment? What are the things you should look at for your event, whether it's indoor, outdoor, whether it's children, whether it's things like that, to make sure that you run a safe event. Simple things like safety training, first aid. I remember there's an event we once had where there was strobing lights and we didn't know there was an epileptic in the audience and we got a seizure. What do you do?
Gosh.
So there's many things like that we try and just teach people that it's the little things. Yes, the space looks brilliant, but it's the other little things like that. Someone comes to your event and they're in a wheelchair, but the venue doesn't have a ramp or a lift. What happens?
And also right now, another good risk assessment, if your event is occupied. So how do you, so Jesus wanaweza kuja waseme tunataka occupy event, like actually November and December actually was very chaotic, and by then that stuff needs to stop, because these are investors, these are people who have when they really put their money into an event, and they're investors, they also need money back. But as much as you're saying more budget needs to be put on security, you also need to look at the return on investment. I think also it's we as Kenyans, we are supposed to introspect ourselves. So how is our conduct? Our conduct, you know, we don't have to be occupied in everything. So now shifting gears. So 6 years into the events business, that is basically teaching. So what has the impact been? What's the outlook? So what have you achieved so far from the last year, and what do you envision the last 4 to 5 years?
All right. So far, we were able to train, like now, currently, the current cohort is cohort 20 for the event planning course.
All right.
For the business course, we've trained 4 cohorts. And for the wedding course, we decided last year we've done 1 cohort. So it's a total about 140 people that we've trained so far.
All right.
And some of them came in super green. I remember the one particular lady came in and she was really passionate about events and wanted to learn. And she tried planning and she tried different things. And now she started her own company where she does decor. So she offers the decor side of things and also does the planning for you.
Yeah.
So you see she's running her own business and she's very happy. We're very proud of her and doing well. We have others who are starting their own events. Some are running festivals, some are running because in the classroom we have projects also that they do. So it can be a theoretical project that they do as an individual, but we encourage them, when you write this project, as much as it's theoretical, think of executing it, because there's a need for such events in the market. There are some who have gotten jobs in very good event planning companies and have really developed their careers. So it's not that they just come and learn and then sit on that information. We love seeing that they actually grow. From even the consultants that have come through Waridi, it's been such a good thing. And we get good feedback also. People who get to work with people who've been to the events academy come back and tell us, hey, these guys are professional, and we're like, yes, check.
Which is true. So actually, during our conversation, I've realized you're actually struggling with stakeholder engagement. What exactly is not happening? I'm really feeling this, cold engagement. So we're working in silos, and collaboration is very key. So why are we failing? Where exactly are we struggling? Where did we get it wrong? Collaboration is so hard.
The Kenyan market in general, people thrive on competition, which is normal for any market, any industry. But I feel like Kenyans take competition to the level of, I must gatekeep and I must take you down for me to succeed.
It's a management society.
Which is exactly, which it shouldn't be the case.
Right.
It should be that we're in the same industry, so how do we help each other grow? How do we leverage on each other's expertise to make this industry better for all of us? Because what we forget as I'm trying to bring you down is that when I'm bringing you down, I'm bringing myself down as well. Because when you go down, you take me down with you, the industry remains the same. So I feel like we should just stop the gatekeeping. And stop trying to monopolize. And stop trying to be the best by pulling others down. You can be the best by bringing others up. Because I remember when we started the Events Academy, there were people in the industry telling us, hey, you guys, are you serious? These guys will come and they'll steal your clients. But the thing is...
So the students that you're training now.
And the thing is, the Kenyan event industry is ginormous. There's so many things that you can do. There's so many different aspects of events. You can go into security, you can go into branding, you can go into marketing, you can go into social events, and in social events you can decide to specialize in one particular type of social event. You can decide you're going to be the wedding guru, and even in that wedding space, even though there are many wedding planners, you can stand out in deciding to carve your own niche. Like do experiential weddings. Like I was saying the other day, some couple, not in Kenya, because Kenyans don't do such things. They did not because it's too high up there. Because Kenyans value their life. This couple decided to get married in the sky. They bungee jumped. Skydived.
Skydiving.
So they're saying their vows in the sky. So I was saying Kenyans would do that.
Would you? For real? All right. Hey, that's interesting.
I take you in the... So you see, you can carve out a niche for yourself
wow.
that. So as long as we are carving ourselves, like we just have this hollow view of events is only this and not trying to expand.
All right.
The gatekeeping, the monopolizing, the trying to do that thing of Kenyans. When someone starts an M-Pesa shop here, someone else starts another one next to them.
They will.
So that's the same thing that's going on in all the industries.
All right. Duplicating.
Started this.
Something important you've actually highlighted, and you're really bringing it up so well. It's innovation. We're lacking innovation, and this gatekeeping and lack of collaboration is stifling innovation, such that we do things the same. In fact, at Menambia, your story, guys exchanging vows, and I'm like, where? Then I think I'll just wait for Elon Musk to take us to Mars. Hopefully, I'll exchange my vows in Mars, and or probably maybe too close to the sun, you know. That's or maybe exchange my vows in the space, so then come back. I don't know. I'm going to get my marriage certificate if you do it in the space.
AG.
Oh, thank you. Hey, by the way, speaking of AG, some quick development from the Kenyan government. I think right now they have I'll get the proper confirmation, but this is something they released last month. So right now, the AG is giving provision for customizing like the space when you are taking the vows. So now it's not the conventional government kind of style formal setup. You're given there's a dedicated room at Sheria House. So where you do some decoration, don't have to get like a venue. Yes. And then the second thing they're bringing is now the AG comes on site. So those are new developments, but we're going to follow up on that. So if you remember, or Diani, the AG is going to take a flight there.
Oh, nice.
Yes. So now they're going to sign it from there, everything. So those are good developments. So why are they doing that? So they really seen the wedding market is actually expanding and growing, and that's element again of innovation. And something else was actually hearing, but again, I just to get my facts right. So before, foreigners used to come and do their wedding here and exchange vows in Kenya, get the certificate in Kenya, then go back. Right now, there are some restrictions on how foreigners do their weddings and how they get their marriage certificate. So again, that's good. That's good development. So it's stifling innovation. Gatekeeping, lack of collaboration. It stifles innovation because actually I'm baffled when you tell me that couples are really exchanging their vows, kwa hewa. So I'm like, wow, that's interesting. So I just need to get your opinion or a point of view. So how do we fix this gatekeeping kind of stuff, and how do we relax a little bit and open up innovation, so coordinate, collaborate on the same?
I think first it's just starting with a change of worldview. See it as collaboration is growth, which it is. That is why we also thrive a lot on collaborations. And even for the festival that I helped run in Rwanda, it's a collaboration. Like I'm a Kenyan, the festival creator is Rwandese, the person who does the marketing is Nigerian, the person who does, it's a very big collaborative effort, and that's why it grows. And even some of the people come and do their performances, they'll collaborate. You'll find Sri Lanka has collaborated with Rwanda to do a piece, or China has collaborated with Mexico. And they've come up with something so good because they get different ideas from each other and different perspectives. So if we do the same in our industry, come together and pass on and share the knowledge we have. I can get something from you and go like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. What if we do this together and try and build something on it? We'd have more event spaces. We'd have more event tech. We'd have more, instead of just copying and pasting what we're seeing, we'd be coming up with our own things. Okay, interesting. Actually, even mentioning the copy pasting, some new trends that I've been observing for the last 4 to 5 years was now this coming of ticketing platforms. So, moja ticketing platform, now we have so many ticketing platforms. So when you look at, okay, what's the rationale? And some of them, if you have your own event, you create again your own ticketing platform, and you look at on all these ticketing platforms, so what exactly is unique? You can't really tell. So if you had like a unique, but some of the ad zone I've seen, it's now they come with a package of, as you get the ticketing, they have like nice affordable rates. So then on site they give you an add-on of
ticketing. So if you bought the ticket, now they do the scanning, the queue kind of stuff. That's again added advantage. And something else also I've seen they are selling, which is good. It's I see Joy is doing a very good work on events ticketing. So you find they have a platform for marketing event. So you are bored, you want to check which event you want to take part in over the weekend or next month. Go to their app, check more events you can also attend. So I think that's a good thing. But I believe this kind of duplicating things is really stifling. Really stifling innovation. So associations, what's not happening? Coordination, people working in silos. The government is struggling to speak to the MICE stakeholders. So what's not happening in associations? Things are not in order.
I feel like, I guess maybe it's just discouragement. Maybe.
From who? Who's discouraging the other?
From, you see, if you don't have the government support for the MICE industry, MICE is very central to the government.
All right.
Because like for us, MICE is under tourism, right?
Yes.
So if they focus more on the other part of tourism,
that's the leisure,
the tours, the leisure, all that, they are pushing that, but they forget the event side of things, the MICE element side of things. It's discouraging. Sometimes they're just like, okay, let me stop MICE, let me also go to tours and travel, or let me go into something else. But if the government, as they're starting to inject more support into the MICE industry for it to grow, I think that would also push us in the industry to do better. Like, okay, the government is doing this, or there's this event that the government has tendered for, and they're not going to give it to just any event planner. They're going to give it to someone who's certified, who has learned, and this is the curriculum, and this is the certification. Like, you know how the accounting bodies or lawyers, like, you know, you're not a full-on advocate until you've gone to KSL. You know, something where it's very formal and structured. But you see, the government has to have some input in it, so that there's some sort of national recognition of the industry. So I feel like the MICE, we are on the right track. Because now it's a recognized profession. There's a time it was not. I remember I used to tell people I'm an event planner, and they tell me, so now you're going to get a job. And I'm like,
that's deep.
I just said I'm an event planner.
That's
they're
my
like,
job.
So you just do tents and chairs. You have ukona viti na matent. I'm like, no, that's not what I do. It's like, so what do you do? Like, people didn't even understand the concept of what an event planning was. And even schools didn't offer event planning as a course. As you're saying, it was hidden in hospitality. So under hospitality, you'll find maybe there's one module on event planning. And maybe it will be more on deco or stuff like that. But now, even checking online, you'll see there's so many institutions that are now offering event planning, and they've gone deeper than deco. They talk about event marketing, they talk about event safety, they talk about event project management. So it's something that's starting to be more valued and more developed. So now it's just to streamline. But growth is a process.
That's interesting.
So I'm hopeful.
So you mentioned lack of support from the government, and it's a heavy dominant industry that is government reliant. And again, just also to second that, again, it's true, because if you look at the airline, again, you know, the visa approval, you know, the TRA regulation, again, also security, national security. You know, so it's a whole ecosystem. Then now back to the association kind of stuff. So we are asking, where are we not functioning? And you said we're not getting government support. However, again, just to add a little bit on the government. So there's some huge strides and good initiative. So basically, the KICC, spearheaded by the CEO James Maura, is working so tirelessly to really see where we can position Kenya as a MICE destination, and how are they doing that. So in fact, last year they did a national MICE stakeholder engagement, and probably by the course of this month they'll be doing a validation workshop for the MICE strategy, which is done and dusted. And by the way, TRA has a MICE standard, so again they're still here to avail, so let them, you know, work on their stuff and avail it to the public. So really just to standardize. And for the first time, MICE is being recognized in the tourism strategy. So this month, the government actually has floated a public consultation forum in all counties. So but this time into the both District Central, Rift Valley. So for the Nairobi, it's going to be at KCC. So also be taking part on the public consultation. And going through the review, the draft, government has actually allocated 500 million to set up a convention bureau to ensure that we are up and running.
Yeah.
So hopefully that's a good stride. And again, thanks to the associations that really pushed and the noise that we've been making, and also pressure from international communities, because they're saying they're really struggling to have the event and the mice in Kenya. Now, what about associations within ourselves, the private sector?
I feel like it's just, what do I say? To re-strategize. Now, in light of all these new developments from the government, how do we tap in and make sure we're all speaking the same language, so that it's not that this association is going north, but the government is taking us west.
All right.
Yeah, so I just feel like there needs to be like a sit down where we streamline all the bodies, the associations, plus the government, plus the bureau, plus, you know, just making sure everyone is speaking the same language. Yeah, but I feel like the associations have played a big role. We ourselves have benefited in terms of training as well. Yeah, and it's just to keep going, not to give up. I feel that's another thing. People usually give up when things don't work out within a certain amount of time. It's been 3 years and this thing is not going anywhere, I quit. But I think it's just that tenacity, which is one of the things we teach as a trait for an event planner. You have to have tenacity and grit. Because things don't just, this microwave generation, things are not instant.
Things are not instant.
So it's to keep pushing, identifying where the gaps and the issues are, and collaborating to streamline. That's another thing. Collaboration. I'll sing about collaboration forever, because it's the thing that really helps any industry, any country, any business, anyone grow.
Collaboration is very important.
Collaboration is very important.
Oh, that's quite baffling. So again, I ask, is Kenya headed in the right direction in regards to mice?
I feel like it is. With all the things you've mentioned that the government is putting in place, with the associations already in place, with institutions starting to teach more to event planning than decor. We are running in a good direction. It's just now to keep going and make sure we're all referring to the same, which I feel is important, where the government comes in with the bureau and the TRA and all of that. It's now people have a thing to look at, that standardizing, because I feel like that was an issue, because it's a growing industry. Everyone was coming in with their own idea of how it should be done.
Something needs to be done,
but now with them coming and just telling people, okay, no,
they harmonize,
sort of like shepherding us.
Yes.
So now we are getting a shepherd. We're like sheep scattered along. Everyone eating from their own pasture, but now they're guiding us to one particular direction. So I feel like that is, we're going in a good direction, slowly but surely.
Great.
Slowly but surely.
So what does growth or scaling for Events Academy look like?
So for us, our dream and our vision is to not just educate and give exposure to people in Kenya, but Africa as a whole. So we've had the opportunity through our virtual classes to even train people in Uganda. We've trained people in Rwanda. So we want to get more into that space. And then going back to my favorite word, collaboration. We want to collaborate with planners in other countries to see how we can also reach and collaborate also locally. Like now with experts in different fields, to come up with mini courses or master classes in things like AI. Because AI is big right now.
Actually, really taking.
How do we use AI in events? Doing a mini course on that, have people who are interested attend that course, and then maybe partner with a local company again to give people the practical exposure and experience for that. So it's lots of collaborations. And we're also hoping to start an alumni summit for our alumni, so that it's not just you came, you did the course, you've put you in a group, you're collaborating amongst yourselves, and then bye. But want to start an alumni kind of event where people can come in and we bring in industry experts and talk about different aspects of events. Like now what I was telling you, AI, because technology, how do we leverage on technology more as the event industry in Kenya to take us to the next level? We have streamlined, we are now in the same pasture, but how do we now make this pasture greener? Instead of always the grass being green on the other side, how can it be green here? So we want to start an event like of that nature where we're just educating people, partner with different education institutions that are offering events, seeing how we can work together to make it more practical for us as Kenyans.
All right.
As you're saying, going international, but
actually thinking globally and acting local. Actually, this will be a very good stuff, because I remember last year during the National MICE Stakeholder Engagement at KICC, one of the well-renowned lecturer in the country who teaches events management, she mentioned that as much as they're doing something back at the university, there is a need for industry to really develop its own certification that is recognized, so that while they are, having the student, they can also have a smooth transition to the industry. The same thing with the accounting. Go to university, do your finance, accounting, or BCom, specialize. But once you're done, you'll do a CPA examination. Same thing to lawyers. You do your law in an accredited school. So then you have to go back to Kenya School of Law. So that you can do, so it can be a full High Court advocate and now start practicing. I think if you have something, and this is not a way to, to protect the market or to keep, no, it's not bureaucracy. It's standard. We look at the global level, exactly. And this is a way we are also going to attract the international community. The same with classification of hotels. It still works the same. The standardization, and look at it on a global perspective. As much as you're talking about the international MICE, so do you have capacity? Do you have capacity to take international projects? Do you have capacity to ensure that if a client in US comes in Kenya, is assured of the same standard that is there back at their home?
Exactly.
So whatever is happening in South Africa, you can actually get the same product here in Kenya, but a little bit different, customized for the Kenyan market. And also to that, so Eunice, when we talk about incentives, so what are some of the incentives that you really need to look out for? So what are these incentives that the MICE ecosystem really needs to keep it moving, thriving? Because as you said, it's a heavy government reliant kind of stuff. So I'm really interested in this incentive. So how does the government motivate the private sector to keep on? Because again, the private sector is after profit. If it doesn't make any profit, the government uptakes it. So what are these incentives that we need to do?
I think again, I think I'd written a collaboration between government, educational institutions, and private sector players.
All right.
Like if you bring yourselves together and discuss where the gaps are, it will be easier to fill them. Other than government is doing their thing there, private sector, us as Events Academy, we're here with our own kind of situation. So I feel like if you work together, we can come up with incentives that will make sense for people all around, for the institution, for the private sector, and for government players.
Again, you've taken me back to stakeholder engagement. The government needs to talk to the private sector, and the private sector needs to liaison with the MICE. The private sector need to liaise with the government and have those checks and balances. So what are you guys doing? This is what you are doing. Can we align?
Yes.
And we ensure that both of us, we are on the same, same group. So investment and business opportunities. Now that you guys are training the youth. So then I've done my program at Events Academy. I'm a professional in the space now. I've got an internship at Waridi. Then what are some of the opportunities, again, being in the industry for the last 15 years? So what is that outlook that the youths or the Gen Zs need to look out for So what are the new investment landscape that they can actually tap into as they transition from training, back to the ground? So on the horizon, you've been in the ground.
Yeah.
So what are these new investment opportunities that now the youths are able to exploit as they join? Yeah, into the labor market.
There's so much else that can be tapped into in the event industry. Yeah, for example, I've mentioned sustainable events. That's something that's huge out there that we're yet to really grasp here. It's more than just having a dustbin at your event. There's so much else that goes around sustainability in events. There's recently I attended a festival, an art festival in Lagos, and they had someone coming in to talk to them about accessibility in events. And not just like ramps and elevators and things like that, but how do you customize an event? How do you customize a performance at a festival to reach the people living disabilities? How does a blind person follow on in a play or in a speech? How does a person with hearing impairment follow the show, follow the speech, follow whatever the event is? And I feel that's something Gen Z, this new generation coming up, because they're very well tapped in technology. It's something they can leverage on, because events, as I said before, it's so wide. It's so wide. You can go into anything. You can decide to specialize in security. You can decide to specialize in now AI and technology. You can decide to specialize in green events. You can decide to specialize in events for people living with disabilities, and just tap into all these different innovations. Like for that festival, they said what they did for one particular show is, how during news or any public activity event, when there's people with hearing disabilities, they usually have the sign language interpreter on their side. So most of the time, they're not looking at the stage, they're looking at the interpreter. So if there's something happening on stage, they can easily miss it. So what they've done, they have a screen with the interpreter in the middle of what's going on of the stage. So they are watching the play and seeing the interpreter at the same time. So you see, it's something so seemingly simple, but these guys had to do a lot of research and find out how best to incorporate that. So that's the opportunity Gen Zs have, and especially now that you don't have to work in an office 9 to 5. Nowadays it's very flexible, which I know it's something that this current generation really values. Free time, being able to have a social life and still make your money.
Strike a balance.
So you can work from anywhere and still be able to make all these impacts.
Okay.